Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Did you all have enough? You are hearing Akashman. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hope you all had a good lunch.
It was lovely.
Wonderful. And I hope you are all still awake.
Not really.
That's a bit difficult question, I know. But just bear with me. Today we were thinking of discussing one topic which is one of the most relevant, but at the same time one of the most frequently undiscussed question, so to speak. So we thought to keep it as practical as possible. So I will touch on a little bit philosophy only, but most part of it I would need your help to help Achyuta Keshava to fill this board. So you look at the board, it looks empty now. Hopefully by the end of this session, we'll have it filled up completely. So today, we are going to discuss about how to balance our studies, work, and spiritual life. How many of you are students here? Okay. Working? Okay, put your hand up. Only working. Because when I say working, everyone is putting their hand up. Okay, only working. Okay, good. Only students? Okay, good. What does it mean? You have a part-time job, okay. So, spiritual life. How many of you here practice spiritual life? Okay, good. All of us are, hopefully. So, one of the biggest challenges we all face is how to balance these three. First one is studies. Those of you who are only students, put your hand up. Okay. What challenges do you face in general as a student? Second one, studies. Third, studies. Yep.
Very good.
Yes.
Self-discipline.
Self-discipline. Yes. Any other challenge as a student? Those former students as well. You are welcome to actually contribute. Yes. Assignments. Oh yeah. Exam.
Time management.
Mind management. Yes.
Time management.
Oh, time management. Okay. Procrastination. Yes. Delaying. Yes. Oh yeah. Very important. Fees. Anything else? Presentation. Yes. I'm sorry? Routine. Yes.
Skill development.
Skill development.
Not having enough money.
Not having enough money. Fees.
To go college.
Oh yeah, we have to go to college. Whole life itself is difficult, correct? So these are some of the challenges we face as students. Work, those of you who only work. What's the challenge? Work, I know that. In work, what are the challenges you face?
Going to work every day.
Going to work every day.
Can't work more than 24 hours.
Can't work more than 24 hours. Yes, anything else?
Dealing with annoying coworkers.
Yes, dealing with annoying co-workers, including ourselves. Yes. We are a problem for others as well, right? Yes.
Dealing with the boss.
Dealing with the boss. Yes. We all hate our managers. Yes.
Managing,
Not
managing
making
household
enough.
chores with work.
Oh yes, managing household chores with work. Achyuta, I hope you are coping. Well, okay. Yes.
Pay rates.
Sorry, what?
Pay rates.
Pay rates. Yes.
That's what I was going to say. You get paid less for how much work you do.
Yes. Get paid less for even more work that you do. Any other challenge?
Completing task on time.
I'm sorry?
Completing task on time.
Completing task on time.
You need to pay tax for working on.
Oh yes. Need to pay tax. I'm getting interesting answers here. Yes.
Setting priorities.
Setting priorities. Yes.
Sleep.
Sleep. Who said that? Yes.
Children.
Children. Come on, they are not problem. I actually wanted to tell to Nanda Gopal Prabhu, anyone here who are staying away because you want to get away from your parents, I was going to say Nanda Gopal, don't forget, just because you are among the youth. You have two lovely boys. Okay, spiritual life. What challenges? Oh, now we'll pour out our heart.
Chanting, chanting.
Oh my, excuse me. Am I in the right group? Chanting 16 rounds. Wait, I told you. I'll get overwhelmed here. Chanting 16 rounds, yes?
Attentive round.
Monkey mind.
Monkey mind, yes. Attentively, okay. Attentive chanting. Any others? Dealing with the devotees.
Leaving tea.
Yeah, dealing with devotees. What?
Leaving tea.
Correct. Giving up tea, coffee, biggest challenge. Giving up coffee and tea. Yes.
Making habitual.
Giving up chocolate, you don't need to give up. If you want to know, it's a good topic. If you want to know what Prabhupada said about chocolate, Prabhupada said not to take chocolate. We don't take chocolate in temple. Temple will never serve chocolate. But if you find someone serving, you better come and complain to me. They're not supposed to. But in terms of individuals following it in their home, it kind of like came to be accepted. Even spiritual masters, they allow them to take. Personally, I wouldn't recommend as much as possible. It's not like you're gonna die if you don't take chocolate. So you don't need to. Yes. More.
Fasting.
Fasting, yes.
Making habit of reading books.
Yes, reading books.
Balancing your time to sleep and on time and wake up in for Mangalam.
Correct. Managing sadhana itself is a big, yes, I told you, being a Hare Krishna, very difficult. You can't eat outside. Seriously, you can't eat outside. When you travel, it's such a big problem. You know, don't eat this, don't eat this. Yes, anything else?
Need to wake up early.
Need to wake up early, yes. Need to do service, yes.
I was just
Anything else?
Influence of non-devotees.
Influence of non-devotees.
Getting cravings on Ekadashi.
Getting only? Okay, getting cravings on Ekadashi, yes. Anything else? Any other challenge you face as, yes, somebody had their hand up. Yes.
Motivation.
Motivation for what?
If, like, for example, if you're doing a sadhana and you say, I'm not going to do this for a certain period of time, and you really miss doing whatever you want to do,
That's
then
true.
it's hard to keep going.
Yeah, especially when you pick up your beats and chant, mind will say everything else in the world is important except chanting, correct? And as soon as you put the beat down, you feel lazy and you sleep. Or even during the time. Okay, so we have a lot of challenges. So if you look at them, thank you. Achyuta Prabhu, you can take your seat. Give a big round of applause to Achyuta Keshava. How old are you? 20. I know him at least since when he was 3. When he used to sing Narsingha Pranam mantra in the temple. And he's been very staunch, very strict. He's studying law now. Their family is very exemplary. Their whole family. He has a brother and sister. And together with his mom and dad, they go and perform Harinam in the streets. You name a suburb, they would have done Harinam. And they're not doing for 1 year or 2 years. They've been doing for like more than 13, 14 years. Every weekend. They do that. We can take a lot of good advice from him to see how we can balance these 3 in person. So you're welcome to contact him. Now, how are we going to balance these 3? Normally when we were just students, okay, taking a step back when we are not used to being a devotee, before becoming a devotee, we didn't have these 2. We had only this. We struggled with self-discipline, assignments, time management, fees, presentation, routine, skill development, going to college, procrastination, so on and so forth. Studies, right at the top. All of them. And that used to be our only area of work. Nothing else mattered. And we hated doing all of this as usual. And we all had our own avenue of taking some time off from all of this and then diverting our mind. And that can be movies, that can be games, that can be just hanging out with friends, anything. So that's how, before we became devotees, this is how we dealt with this problem. And we still fared very badly there. Is there anyone here who is very studious? Like class topper?
I've been a topper.
My God. Okay. I had a cousin. I come from a joint family. How many of us are here? About like 50? In my family normal crowd is half of this. I can run a Bhakti Vriksha, Bhakti Shastri. This is the family I was born and brought up in. In my family, my mom is a doctor, my aunt is a doctor, another aunt is a doctor, my uncle is a doctor, my cousin is a doctor, another cousin. Do you know how much pressure that comes with that? I hated studies like anything. So, when we come from our family background, India, Nepal, any other country here, primarily it's these two. Afghanistan, yes, anything? It's primarily these three. We all come from similar background. We were told, please take care of your studies properly, please, because your whole life is actually dependent on that. And guess what? We hated doing it, always. Somehow we scrap through, somehow we are still scrapping through this phase in our life. Some of us feel very relieved. Thank God, we don't need to study anymore like that. Coming to the second part, going to work. This is the biggest challenge for us because studies is something we are all used to do right from childhood, of hating. But as far as work is concerned, especially from the background that we all come in, how many of you have been to your kitchen in your home, back in India, Nepal, Afghanistan? Put your hand up. Not to eat, to cook. To cook. How many of you have helped your parents to actually cook regularly? Okay, at least on the weekend. Wow. Okay, take a photo of that. Next time we have to put all of the photos. Most of us, we haven't, right? We just went there just to eat because somehow we took everything for granted, right? Somebody will pay the fees. Somebody will clean. How many of you have cleaned? Your room, your home, okay, your home toilets. Oh my God. Okay, thank you. I think I'm in the wrong crowd now. I've never done any of this. Okay, but we took it for granted, right? We didn't have to work. Student life means it's a very carefree phase in our life. We didn't have to bother about anything at all. But when we came to Australia, suddenly on top of this one, which we already hated to do, we got built up with one other series of responsibilities that comes with that. And then, to top it all, to make things worse, we became devotees. Now you can't even, at least when you are at this phase or this phase when you came to Australia, you can actually go out and eat whatever that you like. It's not that you all have given up actually eating meat, but you have to feel a little bit more guilt now. How many of you go through that phase? I did. Okay, so, or we completely shun away saying I can't, but then it just adds more complexities. We just don't have enough time at all. So, the biggest challenge that we face if we don't get our mindset clear is these three. Of these three, you would think your studies will actually finish. Yes and no, because even when you take up bhakti, we do a lot of reading. We do reading, whether you like it or not. Of course, it's not all the time that you're going to like. Just like whatever challenge you, or time management, I have to do assignment. If you join Bhakti Shastri course, Matra Gokul Mataji, she runs. She's a hard task master. Okay, sloka test you have to do, presentation you have to do. So many things are there, even inside Krishna consciousness as well. But not to this level of intensity, but you still have to go through tiny part of it. But this will reduce, this will increase. Especially as you build your own family, when you have your kids, in-laws, outlaws, everyone. You buy, you manage home, manage mortgage, a lot of things. And then this will increase as well. In any case, we have to manage all the three to a different proportion. This one will reduce, but these two is only going to expand. And this will never reduce, because once you marry and then have kids, and the kids will actually grow up. Do you know, one of my classmates has become a grandfather, can you believe? And I'm still part of a group. Initially it used to be in Orkut we had, and then in Skype we used to go for a group chat, and now we are in WhatsApp. And I was observing the conversation. Initially it's like, hey, have you got settled in the job? By the way, I got a job in Oracle. I'm talking 2002, 2003. And then after 2-3 years, the conversation was, hey, I got opportunity to go on site. Where are you? After that, hey, I got married. Please come to my marriage. Fast forward. Hey, I got blessed with a bundle of joy. Fast forward. Hey, which school did you actually join your kids in? Fast forward, now high school and then coaching. And now I'm seeing one guy is like, hey, guys, I hate to admit this, but I'm the first grandpa in the group. Time just runs so fast. 11 of my childhood friends, they passed away either through accident, suicide, natural death, COVID. The girl who studied with me in college for 4 years, I'm Ganesh, that's my Karmi name, her name is Gayatri. In alphabetical order, when we sit for exams, she was a manager in a bank. When the COVID actually broke out in her area, she sent everyone, her family, everyone, and she had some accounts to actually finish because they were going to close the branch for an indefinite period. As a branch manager, she had to do. Next day morning, she contracted. Only her body made it to home. Time just flies. Things change quite drastically. Okay, so things will actually fast forward, and for me, it's like a movie. I'm seeing it right in front of my eyes. And I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of time before the topic in my college WhatsApp group is gonna be about marriages. And then how to raise the next generation, how to teach them our culture, so on and so forth. Understand? But the set of challenges, flavor will change, but it's still coming to a different level of complexity in this. Does that make sense? So these two is not going to change. Question is, how are we going to balance? Normally, our mindset when we come to temple, how will you rate it as? Dull, enthusiastic, more or blissful? 3 options. Is your mentality dull, or is it enthusiastic or blissful? How many of you feel dull coming to temple? Even if you feel you're not going to admit now, I know that. How many of you feel enthusiastic? Sometimes, okay? How many of you feel blissful? How many of you feel sometimes I feel little less enthusiastic, sometimes I feel blissful? We all go through our ups and downs. I say even as brahmacharis, we have our good days and bad days. So it's perfectly fine. So we usually think like this, between these two. Now when it comes to studies, if I ask you to rate between these 3, I know what the answer is going to be. I come from Tamil Nadu, South India. We say, in South India, there is only 3 weathers. Hot, hotter, hottest. There's no other season. Same way, if I give you 3 choices, you will only say dull, dull and dull. Correct? Work. Mostly dull, sometimes maybe little bit enthusiastic, especially if it's going to be a long weekend coming soon, or you're going to get promotion, or you're going to change your job, or you're going to get a pay hike, performance appraisal, so on and so forth. This one we saw. Now I used to feel like that. When I came to Krishna consciousness, I was staying in, initially I was staying in Strathfield, then I moved close to temple. During that time, when I was chanting 1 round, 2 round, 4 rounds like that, my mind used to clearly make a distinction. Okay, now I'm going to temple, so I'm going to now enjoy. And then once I leave the temple, you can almost feel it. When you step out of 180 Falcon Street. You can almost feel it. Yes, now I'm going to Maya. By the time I go to my home, I'll feel depressed totally. You shut the door, seriously, you will feel like that. You shut the door, loneliness will hit you. How many of you had that experience or have that experience? Happens. We clearly see a difference there. You will clearly feel a change in vibes. And then same way, you go to work and you will feel like, you are walking into the den. And this is pre-COVID days, mind you. Now if I look back, I get scared, how did I go to office every single day? Is there anyone here who is still going to work, having to go to work every single day? I'll do some special prayers for you. I still get nightmares. My current job, I can choose one day of the week to go. And that if it's Janmashtami, we don't go. And we don't take permission. I think I'm on record. Flexible work environment as long as you do your work properly. But otherwise, it's actually very, very difficult, especially if you are fresher, which is how most of you will start your career soon. If you haven't, then you can't demand work from home. And already I'm seeing reports where people are saying, by 2025, 2026, everyone is actually going to go back working full-time from office and not outside. Already, New South Wales government, they made it compulsory. Okay, work from home is completely slashed, and in other parts of the world also. Okay, so it'll only get challenging. We'll go back to pre-COVID days completely in its truest sense. And then you have your devotional life. Going back to my experience, so I used to feel like that. And then my temple president at that time, he said, we want to start preaching in western suburbs. So he told me to move to Parramatta. Now I came from Strathfield to stay close to temple. I stayed for 2 years and he told me, somebody has to preach. You look like more stable, so you go. I still remember the day I already packed the things, sent it with one of my friends. He drove. I finished my work in North Sydney. I got on the train and I was going. I literally felt that I'm getting married off to my in-laws home. And I'm actually sitting like that. Seriously, that's how I felt. And I was feeling very sorry, This is so Mataji must be feeling like that. I was feeling really, really bad and nobody was there. Evening time, 7:30, 8 o'clock like that, I'm going. By the time I got off the train, I was like half dead. I was just dead man walking. Few days later, I heard one lecture of Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And he said something which completely changed my perspective, which acted as a turning point in how I actually looked at work. And thankfully, before joining the temple, for another 2 years I had to work, and I put those principles into practice, benefited. Then I stayed away, at least from full-time work for some time, just 12 years more. Still doing work, but not in the sense how I was working in the past. And then I could continue from where I left off, simply because I put one principle into practice. And I thought it's probably good if I can share that with you now, because that principle I learned when I was 29. And Krishna consciousness, when I started to practice, I always felt, how nice my life would have been if only I started it early. How many of you feel like that? Correct? Even though you're all young. 20, 21, 22. When I joined, I was 25. Still we feel how nice it would have been if only I started practicing it much earlier. So I thought, there's one principle I learned which I put into practice, which helped me a lot. I thought I'll just spend another half an hour sharing with you, so you don't need to go through the same ordeal which I did. And hopefully you will find some use. Principle is very simple. Maharaj said, when I was hearing, this is iPod days, iPod touch days. Maharaj said, normally, Maharaj in that lecture, he said, this is the way how usually devotees divide their lives. This is my life in temple or visiting temple, and this is my time outside the temple. Now you tell me, put hand on your heart and you tell me, where do you spend time most? Is it at home? Is it in temple? Or is it at work? Work? Now between home and temple, where do you spend more time? So if you, let's say if you take a 24-hour clock or 24 hours in a day, how many hours do you think you spend for your work, roughly, including your travel, everything? 10 hours a day. Minimum. Okay. We are not even adding the time you take to get ready. So many things. You have to iron the clothes. So many things are there. You have to cook, pack. So many things are there. Plus, if you have to go even after a long weekend, on Monday morning itself, you'll start to feel as if like you have to go to work next day. You have pressure. You carry that anxiety all the time. So it's minimum 10. How many hours do you think you will come to temple in a day if you are lucky? Maximum. Remaining. It's actually not 10. It's at least if you're going to work, coming back, I'll add at least at least another. So you have another 12? Roughly. Of the 12 hours in home, how many hours are you actually conscious? No, it's very important. Because if you are in a coma, there's no point in counting the time. How many times of these remaining 12 hours are you actually awake and conscious?
0.
I'm hearing 0.
Because you're tired already from all the
Correct.
activities they do.
So I'll put, let's say 8 hours you take sleep. That leaves you with only 4 hours. Technically, that's how long you are in home. 8 hours your body is in home. Mind is already gone. Agree? So this is how much you have. So you spend almost 10, 11 hours in your work. If you are a student, you split this 11 hours, student and part-time, for example. And then 1 hour you will spend in temple if you are lucky, and then another 4 hours. Now guess where we think is spiritual world, heaven, most ecstatic, most enthusiastic feeling comes from? Just that 1 hour. This is where you get enthusiasm. Guess where your dullness or how much or in a day do you feel dull? How much of the time in home it may, I'll give you this, maybe a little bit that. Oh yeah, very important.
Sleeping is blissful.
Sleeping is blissful. Eating is enthusiastic. Cleaning is dull. Cooking, all of that dull. Agree? So if we look at our lives with the way how we do, we spend a lot of time, dull is like winning the vote here. At least half. It has a simple majority, it has maximum. Agree? More than half the time we are in dull. Of the remaining half time, 3/4 of that goes in sleeping. There is only 4 hours in a day where you give yourself some opportunity to be little enthusiastic and blissful. Now if you take your whole life, this is just a story of one day. You take it for a week, take it for a month, year, many years. If we keep approaching life like this, then our maximum period of life will be spent in dullness only. Believe it or not, very few from my batch when I joined the youth group made the change. Most of them, this is how they are still leading, with all due respects. And because of that, they feel dull, partners feel dull, kids feel dull, everyone feels dull. And over a period of time, even this also goes away. Most of them, they stopped practicing Krishna consciousness. Radhanath Maharaj said, if we are devotees, this is not how we should lead our lives. Because we believe and we understand Krishna is the controller, Krishna manages our life, Krishna manages time, and anything and everything that comes in our life is actually sent to us by Krishna. Which means we should stop putting an area of demarcation for Krishna and learn to see everything as being sent by Krishna. If you go to college, then you understand Krishna has actually sent the teachers. You sit and read, it is boring. Likewise, if you go to work, some work may actually come. It may be boring, but it is sent by Krishna. And the reason why we have this constant battle with work, studies, and even in devotional life, challenges where we have to constantly battle out the mind is because we do one fundamental mistake. We constantly give in to dividing our interest in work. This work is nice and that work is bad. Tell me some things. I said like, okay, in home you may feel dull, enthusiastic, blissful. Tell me some things where you feel enthusiastic in home. What activities? Sleeping? Okay, eating? Anything else?
Watching movies.
Watching movie? Yeah.
Talking to family members.
Talking to family members.
Arguing with family.
Arguing with family members. Yeah, there's a lot of fun. I used to do that. Yeah.
I still do it.
Yeah, good. Anyone? Anything else? Anything else which you feel enthusiastic?
Reading books.
Reading books? Any mundane books? Reading newspapers?
Gardening.
Sorry? what?
Gardening.
What is it?
Gardening.
Oh, gardening. Yeah, gardening. Good.
Taking a break from studies to cook something.
Yes. Taking break from studies to do anything. So you feel blissful in all of that. Agree? Constantly we divide. Likewise, if I tell me things which you feel dull in home.
Chores.
Chores, especially
Cooking, cleaning.
cooking, cleaning, household chores,
Dishes.
dishes, even gardening. Yes.
Dealing with annoying family members.
Yes, dealing with annoying family members. Anything else?
Dealing with a very messy environment.
Messy environment, mortgages.
Dealing with families' demands.
Family's demands.
Non-devotional roommates.
Yes, non-devotional roommates, kids, parents, roommates, partners, everywhere.
Sometimes fear of missing out on all the fun that your friends might be having.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, fear of FOMO, they call it in sales, right? Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So, we have all of that, which you put it under dullness category. And you have all of these wonderful activities which you put it under enthusiastic category. Constantly our mind keeps going back and forth. If you take studies, are there any blissful moments?
The graduation.
Graduation, the days when you thought you are going to fail the exam and you somehow passed with distinction. How many of you have that experience? All of us. Others are lying. Yes. Okay, very few moments are there. Even when it comes to studies also, we have some little bit blissful moments. The time when we finish, when we think no more studies, we feel bliss, correct?
Yes.
The time when we think finished my chanting, you feel bliss, correct?
Yes.
There's no difference between how we deal with spiritual life and studies, unfortunately, as of now. Understand? So there is a constant division we make with the studies. With work also. Tell me the time when you feel dull at work.
Early morning.
Early morning, Monday morning, early afternoon. You feel very heavy and you keep staring at everything just to stay awake. Correct? Sorry? Sunday evening, yes, very depressing. Already your mind will be thinking. Yes, anything else?
Travel. When you travel.
Sorry?
Traveling to the work.
Traveling to work, correct.
Talking to your boss.
Talking to your boss early morning, if you get onto a train, how many of you travel by train, especially? When you look at other people, what's your overwhelming feeling early in the morning?
Everyone's dull.
Everyone is dull and everyone is when you look at them, you all feel like, it's like a bunch of animals which are being sent to slaughterhouses. We feel like that. Sometimes, I go by bus, you go by bus, and the whole harbour bridge, right, it looks like a huge den. Early in the morning, cloudy, and you feel like you are walking into the jaws of the You feel very, very sorry for yourself. Why is it like that? And then suddenly in that group, whole group, you may find one or two people very enthusiastically doing, but you can feel the depression, you can cut it. It will be right there, so thick in the air. Experience that?
Yeah.
Coming back to the principle. So it doesn't matter, even though on one level we think chanting 16 rounds is good, being in a temple is actually good. By the way, there are people who had joined the temple and who left also. What does it teach you?
They burn out.
Anything else?
10 minutes.
Consistency,
They
yes.
didn't have balance.
Now let me rephrase the question. If I ask you about the temple, you said you are either enthusiastic or blissful. Even if you felt dull, you didn't even say it. Because generally people don't feel dull, hopefully. But there are people who had joined the temple, spent time in temple, stayed for years in temple, still left. What does it tell you? They felt dull. Understand? My question to you, $1 million question to you is, if you feel enthusiastic going to the temple, technically people who stay there are supposed to feel most blissful, correct? Hey, you're already laughing, man. I'm blissful. Don't doubt me. Normally, when I tell people, I still remember once I was in car park. One person asked me, so what do you do? I say, I work. I stay here. So you don't work? I said, yeah, you can say that. You are happy? I said, yeah. Next question, do they pay you? I said, no. Do you talk to your parents? I said, every day. Every day? I said, yeah, they stand on the altar. Next question, are you married? Yes, Krishna is my husband. And that guy thought I was a nutcase and he just left. So, from outside when you think being in temple is blissful, but there are people who had joined the temple, but they had left. Which means they go through this phase. What does it tell you about temple? Understand? You can be in the temple, but if you are not in a proper mindset, you can still feel dull. And they can go through the exact same emotions you go through going to work and dealing with karmis. Understand? How many of you understand this point? You can still be in the temple, but if you are not with the proper mindset, you can feel bored, dull, depressed, frustrated, burnt out, and you can leave. And there are people who left the temple, who were initiated, but who stopped practicing Krishna consciousness altogether. Now, reason why I asked you whether you understood that is, what's the converse of that? If you can stay in the temple, still feel dull, frustrated, demotivated, burnt out, and you leave, what's the converse of that? In relation to being outside the temple. Who can tell me? Put your hand up.
Going to work and still feeling enthusiastic and blissful.
Bingo. If somebody can stay in the temple, still feel dull, means temple has got nothing to do with how you feel. Converse of that is, if you are staying outside, you don't necessarily have to feel dull. If your mindset is proper, you can still do. I went back for work, but my mindset was so much different to when I went to the work for the first time, when I felt I was a goat being sent to slaughterhouse. From there, I came a long way. Because I put into practice one single principle which I said, I'll repeat that again. Any work that we get, we have to understand it's been given to us by Krishna. Now it's easily said than done. I have done a lot of experimentation with my own schedule, my own minds. I have written articles just to see. Article means journal rather. Every day I would write, okay, how I feel today. Today I'll put into practice this one. Am I feeling any different? Took me a few weeks to really understand how approaching the work is where my trouble was. Moment I made that slight adjustment, everything became blissful. And can I be really honest with you? This morning when I was driving for retreat, I was missing work. Hand on my heart. And I was thinking, hey, what's happening? Are you workaholic now? No. The trouble comes as soon as we start to distinguish in our mind, this is good and this is not good, even in your home, even in a relationship, even with some things you like to do so much. Trouble comes as soon as you think, I like this and I don't like this, you're gone already. This is exactly the mistake which whoever who stayed in the temple, they did. Now tell me, if you are staying in the temple, what are the things which can potentially be easy and what are the things which can potentially be difficult based on your observation?
Association with other devotees.
Okay, others.
You don't have to travel.
You don't have to travel, yes?
Waking up every day for Mangala.
Waking up, is that a challenge, boon or bane?
Depends on your mindset.
Depends on your mindset. Now you're talking like a devotee. Good. Okay, let me take a step back. What are the positives of staying in temple?
When you are closer to the God.
Okay, close to God. Anything else?
Prasadam.
Prasadam, Mahaprasad. Any? Yes. Kirtan.
You get to see them every day.
Go. Yes. Go. Get to see them every day.
I think there's whenever you go to a temple, you have this energy that surrounds you that makes you feel just really happy. At least for me.
Yeah, I think
So I just feel really happy when I'm in temple.
good. So you will feel it's accessible for them all the time.
And then you could do a lot of services. Variety of services that you could do when you're.
Depends on your mindset.
Your faith in Krishna reinforces.
Your faith in Krishna reinforces. Generally, you would think practicing bhakti is very easy. Staying in the temple. Negatives. What are the negatives of staying in temple? Achyuta.
Sleeping on a yoga mat.
Sleeping on a yoga mat.
Oh.
Okay.
Getting scolded by
Sorry, what?
getting scolded by senior devotees.
Getting scolded by senior devotees. You never get scolded by your parents. And that is not true, by the way. Yes. Sorry, what? Could get boring at times. You may feel that, oh, I'm just doing the same routine work again and again and again. What's the point? Any other negatives from what you have observed? Yes.
Others think that they have nothing else to do.
Others think they have nothing else to do, so you always get your door knocked. I lock my door. Still people come and knock. I say I'm busy. They say, no, Prabhu, still I want to talk to you. Yes.
Do more sadhana, like we always attend, like they always focus on their sadhana.
Yes. Always focus on sadhana.
More we will be associating with senior devotee, like there will be chances of us doing more aparadhs to
Chances are us to offend others more. Okay. And lack of, you may have your own room. There's no private room there in the temple. Understand? In your home you may cook or you can go to somewhere and do. Temple has a certain standard. Services, for example. Sometimes if the service is too much, lack of sleep. Many times I tell devotees, they come, they feel I'm coming only once a week in the temple. And then they'll attend 9 o'clock arati, they'll sprue all the mats here and there. Festivals, everyone throws colors and everyone goes away. Guess who has to stay up late and clean?
The people who stay.
Temple devotees. Guess at what time temple actually becomes, bit quiet for us to clean? 11:30.
Oh.
Guess what will happen if you don't clean that late at night? Neighbors will complain. And guess who will be blamed? Temple devotees again. Understand? Being in temple has got its own challenge. Okay, so whoever comes from outside, they need to be matured. Side point. To understand, there's a lot of work that needs to go between now and Mangalarati, next day morning, to bring the temple back to its original state. Understand? So you'll never come. First day you come, it's so dirty. Next day you actually come and you observe. Who cleaned it? Ask that question. Okay, so negatives are there, positives are there. Being in temple also. I'm taking extreme example here. Okay, first thing, if you have to actually enjoy doing work, if you want to actually maintain balance, first biggest mistake. One message I'll tell you, that's the takeaway message of this session. I'll finish in 5 minutes. Okay, I said that just to wake you up. No, I'll seriously finish in 10 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I'll say the same thing in another 10 minutes. Okay, only 5 minutes. So point is, we have to stop in our mind mentally when you approach anything, separating this is good and this is bad. This mistake, if you avoid or if you stop it completely at all levels, now this is again another problem. Our mentality when we come to temple or when we practice bhakti is, oh, this is spiritual, this is material. How many of you think that way? Do you think if you lose your job, you'll be able to focus on your bhakti fully?
No. You would be more in trouble.
If you fail in studies, do you think you'll be able to focus more on bhakti?
No.
Or if you think, if I give up everything and just join the temple, everything will be blissful.
No.
That was a resounding no. Thank you. Yeah, no, because it's the same mentality you will go. Understand, when I joined the temple, my temple president asked me, so what's your plan? My plan, going back to Godhead, I said very proudly. He looked at me and he said, no, tell me your plan. How do you see yourself in 1 year's time? 5 years' time? 10 years' time? And he told me to write it down. And I wrote it down. By Gopinath's mercy, whatever I wrote down, recently I was going through the journal. Thank you, Gopinath. I wrote it down, Gopinath fulfilled it somehow. We need to have a very clear-cut plan in terms of where we are heading. But taking a step back, we need to stop this mistake of seeing, yeah, this work is good work and that work is bad work. If you do that, you are a failure even here. What to speak of here and here? And we have this tendency, somehow, as a devotee, I'll be a very, very good devotee. But then studies, I'll be a little so-so. When it comes to doing work, I'll be so-so. How many of you have gone through that phase or still going through that phase? How many of you would like the same level of enthusiasm you get as when you come to temple, in your work as well as in your college and studies as well? That means we have to understand we are only one single personality. We like to believe we are different personalities. We are one single personality only. And the proof of that is, one who is a failure here at that time, without understanding about their mindset, they thought I'll give up that and I'll join the temple as a full-time devotee. Correct? Normally that's the tendency. You are good for nothing, become a brahmachari. Or become a brahmacharini. But then you come here without fixing your mind properly here. Guess what? You are still carrying the same mind. And you will face the same problem there. Converse is also true. If somebody says they want to join our temple as a brahmachari, if they are student, we'll tell them finish your studies. And somebody is working, we tell them first talk to your parents, come up with a list of your financial commitments, fulfill it, then we'll talk about it. I decided to be a brahmachari when I was 28. I joined when I was 31. I didn't have any mortgage when I was 28. I worked for 3 years just to save Lakshmi for my parents. And they are still getting paid from the fund. Okay, so it's not, spiritual life is not a joke. I'm talking even for brahmacharis. What to speak of all of you? Grahasthas. You have so much responsibilities. And I say always to the youth, your focus at this point of time is, I was recently quoting Arnold Schwarzenegger. How many of you know him? Okay, famous bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia for like what, 5 years? Something like that. Or if you don't know Terminator, Judgment Day, released in my days, I don't know whatever that came later. True Lies? No? Okay. You get it. You know who I'm talking about. He said, you spend 1 hour in things which you like to do every day. And then you keep adding that 1 hour every day. By the end of that year, you would have spent 365 hours. You will become expert in any field. Understand? It's the same principle. Now you tell me, let's say you are a photographer. Any photographers here? Okay. And you are a professional photographer. You spend 1 hour learning the trade, tricks of the trade. And you spend 1 hour every day for the whole year with consistency and longevity. You will become expert at it. How will you feel when you go to work after getting that level of expertise? Dull?
No.
Enthusiastic? You will be looking for opportunities, correct? Because you know how to make the most of the opportunity that Krishna gives it to you. And the reason why we constantly separate is not based on spiritual value, or this is good, that is bad, I like to do this, I don't like to do that. It's simply because our mind clearly takes up things which are easy to do, which you like to do, among the things which are easy to do, and then it will trap you there. So then you like to actually say, oh, I love to do this. There's no question of loving to do this. You love to do everything. If you get into that mindset that I will love to do everything, be it when I'm working, be it when I'm cooking, be it when I'm with my friends, be it when I'm with my partner, with my kids, with everyone, then you love doing everything because you will get good at it. But if you think you have a choice, I will actually do only things which I like to do, then good luck with that. That struggle which you go through, same struggle you will go through for the rest of your life. But if you're really doing smart work, you follow what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. You spend time, whatever that you are doing, become good at it, so much so that going to work will become childlike. You will have same level of enthusiasm. One practice I used to do before and even now, before joining the temple and even now when I'm working, is Fridays alone, I will spend more extra time or more time after hours. Why?
You save up the work for the next week. You're doing it now, so you will be having more time next
Okay,
week.
anything else?
So you don't have to go out with others.
Okay, anything else?
So that your weekend is enjoyable.
Monday morning when I actually wake up, I don't have any Monday blues. You will be looking forward for it because you are already one session ahead. You will be in the pole position. Again, one practice which I started to follow when I heard Radhanath Maharaj's class. Understand? So we need to have a clear-cut plan. Now for the age that you are in, for the phase of life that you are in, your focus should be not to do so much service. Why do you think I'm saying that? Prabhu confirm, he's a demon, correct? Why am I saying that now? Yes?
I think to do service, you have to be in the right mindset.
Correct. You have to be in the right mindset. Anything else? What can you do in the name of service?
A lot of other stuff.
In the name of service, where will you compromise?
Work and study.
Work and studies. But then, by doing that, you are only postponing the trouble. Don't you think so? Rather, what you are supposed to do now is, you focus on your studies, focus on your work, become expert in what you are doing, and then life will become enjoyable, and then it will remain enjoyable for the rest of your life. Then there won't be any difference between these three. But currently, if you think, oh, I have 2 hours free, let me just run for service. I'm not saying don't do service. I'm saying don't do service neglecting the phase of life where you are supposed to invest in yourself. That's my point. Because if you do this, you can do so much more service. Because you will be expert in your own field. Even with that, you can do so much service later. Understand? I won't teach you renunciation. You are all in your early 20s. Become millionaires. Hey, that's not a joke, man. Come on, I'm serious. Become millionaires. Wouldn't it be nice if you become stable in bhakti, become expert in your field, and are millionaires? Can you imagine what you can do from 30 onwards? I'm sorry?
Spend time for service.
Yes, you can spend more time for service then. Understand? So we need to have a very, very clear-cut plan. But currently, in the name of service, you compromise on your health, compromise on your sadhana, compromise on everything. Just, oh, I have time. And by the way, our enthusiasm to do service is driven more from our hatred for work and studies than for love of Krishna. I'm shooting you in point blank range. Understand? So first thing is, in this phase of life, when you are where you are in, you think long term. Our life is a marathon. And if we have to run in athletics, anyone here who has done athletics? I was an athlete, 100, 200. They'll teach you how to spend energy. Okay, the one who wins the race is one who slows down last. Because everyone loses energy, correct? You will pump up. But how are you spending your energy? That matters. So keep that in mind. We are going to run lifelong marathon. Okay, you will live another 70, 80 years. I'm 44, I may live for another. Okay, sometimes if I call one devotee, you will always say, Prabhu, you live for 108 years. I was just thinking about you. I'll tell him, Prabhu, please make it 200. I have a lot of service to do. I don't want to die. I may live for another, okay, if I gave you 70, okay, 50, 60 years. But most important thing is, how are we going to remain in our optimal position so that we are successful in our studies, successful in our work, and then successful there as well. Imagine you are expert in your field and you love doing what you are doing and you make a good earning out of that. You will be a good example here, correct? You will be a good example for your family, for your relatives. For kids, they will feel inspired to practice Krishna Bhakti. You will be able to inspire to so many more people. And by being pumped up with the enthusiasm you get in this, you will be able to spend a lot more energy there, fully. On the other hand, to run away from this and this, if you take shelter here, as I said, with that mentality, even if you give up everything, become a full-time devotee, you will run away from there. We have more examples of people leaving the temple than people joining, mind you. Issue is this: if you don't fix it here and here, you can't fix it there. And understand, as people, we are one single personality only. We should stop cheating ourselves that in studies and work I'll compromise, only in devotion I'll be sincere. That means half of your philosophy is wrong. That means you are practicing philosophy only 4 hours in a day. Remaining 20 hours goes either in sleep or in dullness. What kind of philosophy is that? Okay, what principles are there if they can't actually be useful to us? Understand? Go back to the basics and stick to one single principle, which is anything which Krishna, anything that comes to us in our life, there's no good and bad. Understand, moment it's very late, it's too late. You can't become a non-devotee now. If you are thinking, oh my God, I have to study, I have to work. Yes, you can't be a non-devotee anymore. You have only 2 choices. You can either be a happy devotee or unhappy devotee. How many of you want to be a happy devotee? 24/7. Okay, think twice, you can't put your hand down. Once you put your hand down. All of us. So please keep that in mind and then understand there's only one principle and stop making the distinction, I like this, don't like this, this is good and that is not good. No. Anything that we have to do as our duty is good. And that can be cleaning toilet, that can be changing the nappies of your kids, that can be cooking for your partners, that can be searching job, that can be raising funds, that can be cleaning the temple, that can be giving class, anything. Learn that one single principle, which is everything which I get comes to me personally being sent by Radha Gopinath. And you take that, then you will find the deeper meanings. Then life will be enjoying, it won't be boring. Then you can carry the same amount of bliss from 1 hour to 24 hours. Okay, and if you do that, these 3, they are just the details, you will figure out all of that. But if you take the first step wrong, clearly, oh, I'm dealing with karmis. No, Krishna is sending you. Through you, he wants to actually give some devotee association to the others, which means you be a good devotee. And in your association, they will become one day. Okay, I'm done.
So I have 2 questions. So my first
You said
question,
only one. Okay, anyone else? First I'll ask you, I'll ask others, and then I'll come back for your second question.
okay, for my first question. So you say you see everything through that is Krishna given to us, okay? How we can actually put that in action that, okay, this been happening through, like Krishna wanted to us to do the work or study or even though every jobs that we do. Like, I don't really kind of put that through.
Good question. I taught 2 principles. One principle is everything is sent to us
By Krishna.
Krishna. Second point, there's only 2 points. I've been repeating.
Yes.
2 points is stop saying good and bad.
Yes.
Now ask your question, you will find the answer if you understand the second point.
So my second question also is like how to stop doing the
Go to the first one. First question was I asked her to go to the first question is no, I'll tell you. I get your question.
Thank you.
First question is She is asking, how can I see everything that being sent by Krishna? Answer to that is the second principle which I taught. Answer.
Stop looking like if it's good for me or bad for me.
Correct. Because you wouldn't be asking me that question if tomorrow you win $1 million in lotto. Correct. That question is stemming from the fact that how can I see negative things being sent by Krishna? You will never be asking how can I see $1 million sent by Krishna. Agree? Now you are laughing. So follow both the principles. Stop saying this is good and this is bad. Then whatever that comes is being sent by Krishna. That's it. There's only two principles I'm saying. First is whatever that's being sent is by Krishna. That can be a plate of prasad, that can be anything. Even work, even studies, even challenge, even your tire bursting, everything. You don't need to hate anything. Understand? The other part, I'll tell you, recently there was one devotee, not like recently, probably a few months ago. One devotee asked me, he's from different yatra. There was one guru, spiritual guru in India, very respectable guru. He said something about Krishna. And he said, to counteract that, I released a video blasting at that guru. And then he asked, did I do it right? I told him the very fact you are calling me to ask means you yourself have now doubts whether what you did is right or not. And I told him, okay, there are only few scenarios here. Okay, he said something right, not leave it. Now you said something now. And if a neutral person comes and sees, he will not see what that guru said or did. He will simply be worried about how you are presenting yourself. How many of you have this experience? You know, your parents say something, you say something. Is this what they teach you in ISKCON? How many of you have that experience? See? You will tell them, chant Hare Krishna, no, we know everything. They'll reject everything. Finally, to pick fault alone, they'll tell you, is this what they teach you? Like that. So I told him, by releasing this, you have any neutral person who comes and sees, they will think, they will not worried about the issue which you are addressing. The way how this person talks, this is not what I want to associate with. Then I told him, is that going to solve this problem? He said, no. Is that going to bring more problem? He said, yes, Prabhu, I'll bring a lot of bad names to ISKCON. Then I asked him, what should I do? Or what should you do? And he said, maybe I should remove the video. I said, okay, that's your decision, go ahead. We can always find good things in people. You don't need to fight, there's no need. There may be things which the person may be saying wrong about Krishna, but there are zillion other things which the person may be doing right about. Okay, guiding people, guiding youth, vegetarianism. You can actually pick up so many positive things. Appreciate them for that. Beyond that, if there is any thing which they say wrong, understand this is ignorance. And see how you can distribute the book. See how you can give that knowledge to the person so the person can actually go one step further. That's proper synthesis. Otherwise, taking an anti-step is actually not going to do any good for us or for them or for the society. Okay, same principle. This is good, that is bad. This is devotee, non-devotee. This is a favorable person and that's a karmi. The moment we do that, understand it's the same point that getting reflected in everything that we do. Or today is Sunday, I like, Monday I hate. Same. This point, Krishna himself says in Uddhava Gita section, in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, constantly seeing this is right, this is not, this is right, this is not. He says, this itself will poison your mind. Krishna is saying there. This itself will put you into duality. Because all you will be worried about is this right? Not. Right? Not. And that's a problem. Then you cannot see everything being sent by Krishna. If you are in that constant platform of seeing the dualities, we cannot. Any other question? Yes.
Prabhu, if everything is sent by Krishna, but what if the work is against spirituality?
Good question. If the work is against spirituality, who made the decision to be at that work? So whose responsibility is that? Prabhupada says that every work that we do has got a tinge of impurity in it. Krishna also says. Like I'll give you an example. One youth, I don't want to use the name, not here. He said, Prabhu, I was working in Woolies before coming to Krishna consciousness, and now you are telling even the one who sells the meat will take the karma. What should I do? I said, okay, now that you know, try to see another job that may pay you slightly less per hour, but something that will not involve you getting involved in the karma. Then it was a little struggle, and then finally he found something. Interestingly, he got another job with a better pay. Okay, so our point is, we do as much as possible within our principles, basically. Anywhere you go, if you go to work, our dharma is very clear. Job description they give clearly. You simply stick to your line of authority and you follow what you do. But if it's with the religious principle, like if they tell us, go break 4 relative principles, that's a strict no-no. Anything beyond that, you have to go by time, place, circumstance. But with things, it's compromising too much on that, then you have to, in consultation with your mentor, you have to make a decision. Either to move on to a different job or you start to look for other job, something like that. Okay. Arya, and then I'll go here. Yes. Yeah, go on.
About good and bad. What about the disease? How do we take it?
Good question. Disease.
Or loss?
Yeah, or loss. I'll tell you a story. There was one king who had a minister, very intelligent minister, and the minister would constantly be telling the king, whatever that happens, it's for good. So one day the king, while he was cutting fruit, he cut his finger. He bruised it, blood started to ooze out. They tied it, and the minister, he asked the minister, you say everything is happening for good, now I cut my finger, is this also for good? And the minister said yes. Because the king was already writhing in pain, in anger, he passed the judgment. This minister doesn't know. He lost his sense of discrimination. I'm putting him in jail. They put him in jail. And then he has his finger bandaged rather, and then he goes for hunting expedition along with his soldiers. As he goes deep into the woods, he gets diverted from the rest and he gets arrested by a group of cannibals. You know what cannibals are? Man-eating people, tribal people. So they take him to their own god, wanting to sacrifice. And right at the point when they were about to cut his head, at that time, one of the leaders actually notices that he has got his hand cut and bandaged. Then he pointing that out, saying that his body is impure and not fit to be offered to God. Then they abandon him. You are unfit, get lost. Then the king, again he comes, joins with his army, and then he comes back. And then after he comes back, now he remembers minister's words. Yeah, actually the minister told me, when I got cut, he said it's also for good. Actually it is for good, otherwise they would have sacrificed me. So having a change of heart, he runs to the prison and asks for forgiveness from the minister. I feel so bad, you are actually trying to do good for me. And look at me, the dull-headed king that I am. I ended up imprisoning you. I'm really, really sorry. Minister said, oh, don't worry, my dear king, you putting in the prison is also for good. Otherwise, as with our normal routine, I would have accompanied you, they would have spared you but killed me. So everything is for good. So sometimes when we see something positive instantly, we have this appreciation. Yes, this is happening, good. Negative things, go back to my second principle. There is nothing called a negative. It's good, better, best only. When we learn to see that, even our so-called, how many of you think COVID changed the perspective of humanity about how we look at our lives, or work-life balance at least? Positive. Now there is negativity. Okay, there were victims of COVID, that is there. but there are positives also. So in a relative world that we live in, it's very hard to say this is correct and this is not correct. Very hard. Okay, so, but as devotees, we understand, we are, as soon as we chant Hare Krishna, who do we come under? Srimati Radharani. Okay, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that. Okay, Mahatmanastu Mampartha Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. Okay, that's the closest Krishna comes to say about Radharani's name. Daivim Prakriti refers to Srimati Radharani. So we don't come under Durga Devi anymore. As I said, it's too late. Anyone here missing Durga Devi? You can still go. No, Durga Devi is also our mother. Okay, but we are not controlled by her anymore. Okay, we are under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. Okay, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, we are constantly putting ourselves under her care. And whatever that happens, we take it as being sent by Krishna. Whatever that we desire, Krishna gives, we accept that as Krishna's blessing. Whatever that we desire and we don't get, we accept that as Krishna's protection. If a baby is asking for an apple and the parents give, that's parents' blessing. If the baby is asking for a knife to play and the parents don't give, that's parents' protection of the baby. Understand that? Easy point, but when it comes to putting us and Krishna, it's a little difficult to accept. Understand? So, us desiring something and Krishna not giving something, or us meeting with something which is not seemingly to our liking at that point of time, how do we react to that? We pray to Krishna, Krishna, I know you are giving me something for my good, please give me the intelligence with which I can see that. Then when Krishna gives us that intelligence, we'll be able to see it. Just like in this example that I actually told you, minister was able to see. Even though externally it looked like, there was a big injustice that was imparted to him by the king. This is how normally people will see. But because he had the proper mindset, he's able to even see Krishna's hand, even in a seemingly undeserved punishment. Understand? So one example I'll give you, our position is like, like in a chessboard, we are like pawns, we are being moved around by hands of Krishna. And we can't see. Just for the pawns or the chess pieces, they don't see the whole picture. Only those who are moving, they'll see the picture. Does that make sense? Likewise, our perspective is very, very tiny, very, very small. We look at the whole world through like a keyhole only. Our perspective is very, very tiny. Krishna has got a broad perspective. Guru has a broad perspective. Okay, so something which they say immediately may not be to our liking, but we put our trust to Krishna. There is no reason why Krishna will break my trust. There is no reason why Krishna will treat me as enemy. I'll just take it. Understand? Hare Krishna. Someone else had their hand up. Who is it? Okay? Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. One quick question about, there are some Srimad Bhagavatam verses from Canto 7 which talks about Grihastha life, how one should live. I don't remember exact words, but it's related to we should live life to the bare minimum. We should not work too hard. We should not just live life, how much we need for our life. We should not take others' quota and all that. So how do we put that in perspective in terms of
the balance?
The balance, like working, because that way we can I don't need to work too much, just will work little bit so I can earn livelihood rather than excelling at work or something like that.
Good question. How much is too much? It varies from individual to individual. Now, how do we know that we are stepping over the line? When our practice of Krishna consciousness, our practice of 4 regulative principles, chanting, reading, associating with devotees, when that gets compromised, then we know the quality time that we are spending with our family, with our other duties. When they get compromised, based on that, you can gauge, yes, I'm actually taking up too much. Either I have to cut down on my other career responsibilities, or maybe this point of time, my priority is I need to take care of the family now and wait until, my kids grow up a bit, my partner actually matures a bit more in Krishna consciousness like that, and then you take the next step forward. Or you think, okay, this is how much I can actually do at this point of time, and then settle with that. One mistake generally devotees do is, and you can't blame, but again, sometimes you will see, one couple, they are rich, Okay, in our yatra itself, we have few devotees' homes that are built for $4.5 to $5 million. Like one home we went, I was sharing in the class, one home we went and I called asking the devotee who took me for fundraising. And I called him, he came out, and then I asked him, so, Prabhu, we are in front of the apartment. When he came out, I said, no, Prabhu, this is the home, 4 stories. I'm not joking. I got shocked. It's like, hey, we went in the evening, and literally I thought it was an apartment. I was calling him to find out the unit number. He said, that's the home. Now, if someone else who actually goes there and they say, see, they are also devotees, they are also chanting 16 rounds, why can't I actually build a home? But the point we have to understand is, even if you take from a spiritual perspective, there are some karma we bring from our previous lives here. How many of you understand this point? Now you are devotees now, but you still carry some karma from the past. And some karma will not change instantly. Like for example, imagine if a whole karma has to change, means you need to get a brand new body. Okay, you go to get initiated, you come out, you come as a different person. Prabhu becomes Mataji, Mataji becomes Prabhu. How is that going to work? So it's Krishna's favor. Again, see hand of Krishna. It's Krishna's favor, he leads a tiny bit of residue karma. So you still carry. After Diksha also you carry. Part of that carrying over is also the effect of your past karma. And that couple who's owning such a big, rich home is part of their resultant karma from the previous life. Now we can't go and compare that saying, hey, they are actually earning so much, they are earning that, I will also earn. That's a problem. What you see is just what's happening now, but what happened in the past, that part we don't know. Understand? So even devotees, when they are rich, one devotee couple, they are actually rich and they are having so much wealth and their home is big, they make big donations. I will also do like that. It won't work like that.
So past karma would make you rich by birth, right?
Yes.
But if someone has built that wealth in the current lifetime, that would be something based on the current lifestyle.
Correct. But the whole point we have to understand is, sometimes you will think, how many of you think sometimes in office, my boss, he or she gets like 4 times more and I work more than her or him.
Yeah.
Why is it they get more and I get less? How many of you? Sometimes we think, but what we don't understand is their karma is, they have to put only tiny bit effort. Because of the karma which they bring, good karma which they bring from past life, tiny bit effort they put, they'll get everything straight away. And for us, no matter what, in my place there is a saying, they have saying for everything, what is it? Good opportunity knocks on your door only once.
Yes.
Bad opportunity keeps on knocking until you open the door. Like that, but there's one saying, they say, if you don't deserve, you won't get anything. For that, they say, even if you apply oil throughout the body and roll on the ground, only those dust particles which you deserve to carry only will stick in your body. Like that, they say. So point is, they will be able to get the result very effortlessly, but for us, no matter how much you try, you will still not get. Then you need to know, okay, this is Ugra Karma. That's why this is a good word. You always consult with your authorities, with your spiritual masters, with your mentors. So we always consult. In spirituality, at every step we consult, we take opinion. Prabhupada says, before you make any major decision, you have to consult with the 3 Brahmanas. Brahmanas here refer to people who practice spirituality, who you can trust their intelligence. You need to have at least one person who you can trust more than your mind. Okay, that person will be your mentor. Okay? Thank you very much for your kind attention. Because of your there's still 2 hands up. With your second question, I'll take that and then I'll come to you. Yes. I'll take 2 more final questions.
I just want to make a comment, because we are asking people to look bad things also as good things, which is good. But
There is nothing called bad thing.
people need to also discriminate or distinguish what is actually good for them and what is not actually good for them. So we need to also emphasize on discrimination as thing.
The whole point here is, who here has the doubt that if a bad thing comes, I will mistake that as good thing. Is that the challenge? Like if I get headache, how many of you think, wow, I feel so good? Bad thing, people will always feel bad. But the point I'm telling here is, no, it's an important point Mataji is raising. If a headache comes, it's a given that you know it's actually not pleasurable. You know that. But you don't need to hate. Understand? You can still deal with the situation gracefully. That's what it means. If you lose your job, you know your financial security is compromised. But you don't need to panic. That's what I'm saying. Understand that, yes, this has come to me by Krishna. Pray to Krishna. Krishna, I lost my job. Help me find a job. Show me direction and he will show. Okay, so that's a given. That the sense of discrimination will be there. That's a given. The point I'm touching here is about how, if you lose a job, Krishna has given that devotee $1 million. Krishna has taken away job from me. There are people who have quit Krishna consciousness because of that. Wrong understanding. That's the point I'm addressing here. I'm not saying you see bad thing as good thing. Not like that. Bad thing you still recognize, but understand everything is under the purview of Krishna, and Krishna is controlling everything. Krishna is the ultimate controller. He is the controller of me, my headache, my boss, everyone. My job, everything. And Krishna will make arrangements for me to deal with any situation. Understand?
Can I give an example, bro? What I was trying to bring is sometimes out of naive, devotees tend to even associate with bad people, could be in office or could be devotees who are not actually helping the devotee themselves in Krishna consciousness. So if the naive devotee thinks everybody is good and associate, and at some point they might get hurt.
I didn't touch on, just to clarify that, I didn't touch on association.
Correct. So I'm not relating to your point. I'm just saying where we have to differentiate between good and bad. I was only saying, like, let's not take everything as good, but have a discrimination where there might, why I'm touching on this is because devotees in their starting stage think everybody is good, right, at one point or the other, because we are teaching like that, which is fair enough. That's how devotees' mentality should be. But at some point,
Can I address that?
Sure.
That's not what we teach. That's why I'm correcting there.
Okay.
We have taught the youth that even when you come to accepting mentors, good point you are touching on, when you accept mentors, don't force yourself that this person has to be my mentor. How many of you have heard me say that? We don't force ourselves. We don't go. Rather, we wait and we see who we feel comfortable with at the right time, and then you take the step forward. As I said, the topic here is not about discrimination. The topic here is about over-discrimination. Okay, so discrimination is a given. That's not the point of discussion here. Point here is, like, we all know, we are all matured, we all know who is good, bad, we all know, who we should associate with, who we should not. That's not the point here. The point which I'm talking here is about what that comes to your life. Despite, I know you are practicing as devotees, you are taking the right step forward, but still, in such a situation when you are practicing bhakti also, you get good thing, bad thing, chanting is difficult, eating prasad is easy, I have to deal with this guy, work is difficult, that is easy. That's the point I was actually addressing. Somebody else? Yes, okay, final question.
So my question is if I wanted to kind of observe my behavior and life through kind of, okay, now I'm doing it, everything that's come from Krishna, how can I kind of analyze my behavior that, okay, now I'm doing it through okay, I'm accepting things happening through Krishna. Through what way I could kind of analyze my own way of life?
Good question. How do I know whether I'm actually progressing properly, whether I'm actually observing things properly and I'm actually steering? Who can answer that?
We can maybe write a journal about our day or whatever the decisions we have been taking that whole day. We can just write it in a notebook, and after maybe a month or 2 months, or when you feel like, okay, I have seen change in myself, we can just go through that all and see that where we have progressed.
That's a good suggestion. So you can write down your mindset today, for example. Okay, today I'm trying this. It's like a bhakti laboratory only. You are experimenting with yourself. Understand? So you write it down. Today, this is what I actually feel and this is what I want to do, like that. And then you observe. So that's one great way. I follow that. One senior monk actually advised. The other way is also you can take advice from your mentors. You can take advice from your devotee friends who you trust. One or two friends who you are very close to. They will also be there to actually guide. If we are ready to take instructions, we will actually get the message loud and clear. Okay. If your observation is right and you run it past your authority, they're saying like, yeah, you can go ahead. You check with your friends. Friends also say like, yeah, you're going good. Okay, then you're going good. No problem.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yes, bro.
One last question, bro. You mentioned Srimati Radharani, and when we are reading the scriptures, either obviously in the Bhagavad Gita we don't find any such mentions. As you said, there's a very a tiny hint when Krishna says Devim Prakriti Ashrita. Similarly, I think in the 10th canto, there is a very little hint.
Aradhita.
Yeah. So why didn't Vyasadev mention Radharani explicitly? And we find her mentioned in very few scriptures.
Radharani's name is being mentioned by Veda Vyas in many places, but not in these two scriptures.
Okay.
There are references in other Puranas. Okay. There are references in Padma Puran, there are references in Skanda Puran, there are references in Vishnu Puran as well. Lot of detail as well. Birth of Srimati Radharani, her family members, her sister, everything is given. The reason why it's not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam is Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami is the incarnation of Radharani. Has many pets. She has one squirrel as a pet. Likewise, Krishna also has got a squirrel. How many of you have watched Little Krishna cartoon series? Okay, that monkey's name is Dadi Loba, which means one who is greedy for Dahi. Dahi Loba. Loba means greedy. That's his name. So he'll always get caught trying to steal butter. Likewise, Radharani has also got her own pets. One of her pet is a parrot. And the parrot, she would feed nuts and she would say Madhava, Madhava, it would say. And she would feed another one and she's like, okay, say Prananath, Prananath. So this is her own pet she was actually having. Incarnation of that pet is Shukadeva Goswami. He is the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. He is speaking to Parishit Maharaj. Shukadeva Goswami, when he starts to recite Srimad Bhagavatam, at that time, Bhagavatam, and for that matter, any Purana, even if you take Ramayana, even Mahabharata also for that matter, Itihasas also, it is a form of meditation. Sages will sit in meditation. Valmiki sees, like a 3D movie, he sees the whole Ramayana even before Lord Ram came. And he started to write about Lord Ram's pastimes even before. Likewise, Veda Vyasa, it's the other way around. Veda Vyasa witnessed everything and then he started to write. So, but for him it's a meditation. He sees how it is and then he starts to write. Same way, when Shukadeva Goswami sits in meditation and starts to meditate, at that time there are two reasons that are given in Shastras itself. One reason that's given is the gopis at that time appeared from within his heart and they told him, our pastimes with Krishna is very confidential. Now we are speaking it in public. Just watch out. Second point is, Shukadeva Goswami himself wasn't 100% sure that if he starts to glorify Srimati Radharani, that he can't control his ecstasy and he'll go in his trance. But then Bhagavatam won't be spoken. The very reason why he is there is to save Parishit Maharaj. 7 days only. Imagine he goes into trance for 7 days. Om Namo Bhagavate, and then he just sits like that for 7 days. Nobody will hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So because of these two reasons, he doesn't directly mention. But Vedavyasa has written in other places. In fact, citing those references only, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disciples, which is the 6 Goswamis, they have written extensive commentary. And there are books you can read. Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Gopal Champu. It's there in BBT. You can read that. That gives detailed genealogical table, all the Leelas normally you hear about Radha Krishna Leela, everything is in there. Okay? Okay, we seriously have to stop. Okay, last.
What do you call those people who kind of sitting in a meditation and seeing everything, even though they don't do meditation, they still could see other stuff without our eyes, like the different eyes. What do you call those people?
Schizophrenic.
The true spirituality, actually.
People can hallucinate anything.
No, it's not a hallucination.
Okay, then they are yogis, but you said they are not meditating.
They are spiritual. They do no. Okay, they could see things through spirituality, through meditation, And even though because they are into that a lot, so they even though when they don't do meditation, they just get random information coming to them.
Yogis.
Yogis?
Okay. Thank you very much for your kind attention and for keeping me awake.
Thank for you that keeping us awake.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Gopinath Youth Group ki jai. Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay, let's chant for her.
Yes, for
Oh, thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much for your kind attention. So now we are going to serve you snacks. They are ready. You can fast from it if you don't like to eat. And after that, please come back here. Salan Prabhu, where are you? Salan, are we going to have games here? Okay, you can take snacks. What's the time now? Okay, take snacks there. Please be back in another 20 minutes. We are going to have some games here as well as outdoors. Okay, that's the plan. Hare Krishna.